Hey everybody, it is me, and we're doing another live today. And I'm dressed in a t-shirt today, and the reason I'm dressed in the t-shirt like this today is this is a concert that I went to back in 2018, 2 years ago, actually with my brother. I had a great time. This band's known as the Zac Brown Band. I didn't even know who Zac Brown was, but the band was awesome. And the truth be told, I had an awesome time, wonderful time. Even though I didn't know most of the music, it was great. And so, what's the purpose of me wearing this shirt and telling you this story? Well, it got me thinking a lot about, a lot of people don't necessarily know who Zac Brown is. Some do, some don't. He's not the Beatles, right? Which some people don't even know the Beatles anymore. But it's not Aerosmith. He's a great musician with a good following and pretty popular. But again, he is known for something different in the music field than, say, Aerosmith, for example, who's known for Steven Tyler pretty much in the rock industry, right? So whereas Zac Brown's more of a country pop type band. So here's my point. This got me thinking. I've been wearing this shirt, and this got me thinking about, what do we want to be known for, right? How do we want to be positioned in life? Because it's so important, because what I see is a lot of entrepreneurs not being clear on this particular point, including myself for a long time. It doesn't mean you can't make money with lack of clarity. Certainly, doing seven figures is doable enough without having clarity. But the reality is when you do have this clarity, then what ends up happening is you're able to focus your energy into certain areas, and you're able to say no to others, because you know exactly what you're looking for, what you stand for, what you want to be positioned as. So it's much easier to say, okay, this doesn't fit, but this does fit. Now, a lot of people, when I say these things, they go, oh my gosh, I got to be everything to everybody. And the reality is you don't have to. You can find what people would call a niche or a niche, and you can become the expert in that particular field. But the reality is, though, what do you want to be known for? So today is more of a talk and a challenge, right? So I want to give you kind of the process that I'm going through, so it might be able to help you as well. So the first place that I start, and you'll see me starting to look over at the screen here because that's where I have my notes. The first place I started was, what do I fear? What am I really afraid of? And I wrote down a bunch of things. I wrote down death. I'm afraid of death, honestly. Getting ill, passing away and going as my dad did. My dad was chair ridden for 7 years, and couldn't talk, and he was incapacitated. So I listed all of the things that I fear. So I would challenge you to do the same thing, because there's kind of a big power in understanding what you fear, right? It's not like you're a bad person for fearing this, but we have some fears. So what are holding you back or holding you up from actually accomplishing the next category? Like, who do you want to be? So I wrote down, who do I want to be? So I listed all my fears. And, one of my fears was actually having bigger dreams than I'm committed to achieving. Now, if you think about that one, I mean, that's pretty big, right? I mean, oh, I want this, I want that, but do you truly want it? Or if you truly do want it, are you willing to do what's necessary to get it? Right? So for me, that's a fear. I don't want to be incongruent on that because it's going to create stress in my life. So once you understand what you fear, then you can move on to the next. Who do you want to be? Right? Or who do you think you want to be? Right? So for me, for example, I'm a person who likes to live on a consistent high six-figure level income net. I want to make somewhere a minimum of 400,000 up to $1 million every year. And I've done this consistently over and over and over. I'm not really worried about being a multimillionaire because it's not really what I want on a consistent basis. Now, can I do that? Absolutely. Have I produced millions and millions and eight figures in sales in a year? Yeah, I have. But when you come back to who do I want to be, then I want to be that consistent high multi-six-figure net income earner with a couple of contingencies. I want to do it with ease, and I want to do it with less hours. So I really want leverage in my life. When I look at who do I want to be, I'm looking at the leverage. I also want recurring revenue in my business. Why? Because I've had that freedom many times in my life. I used to be in the telecommunications business, still am to a certain degree. And I had locked in contracts for 3 to 5 years. I've been paid on contracts for the last almost 18 years on some people staying with their services. I want to be truthful. I want to be reliable. I want to be considered that way for myself, right? So who do I want to be is the question for you. Who do you want to be? Because the reality is you start with what you fear, so you know what you're up against, and then maybe those fears are preventing you from even saying, who do I want to be, and writing those down truthfully. So once you understand the fears, you can understand, this is a fear that's holding me back. Now I want to be this person, so let me write that down. Next question. How do I want to be positioned? How do I want to be positioned? That means, how do you want to be positioned in your own life? Like for me, I want to be seen as an expert in my chosen field of revenue expansion and sales conversion on the business side. I want to be positioned as a veteran-owned business because I'm a veteran. I want to be positioned as somebody that recognizes that what I provide is high value, and that what I provide is of not only just high value, but worth and commanding high fees. So I want to be positioned in the field this way, and there's other things as well. But the question now I have for you is, who or how do you want to be positioned? When people are thinking of you, some people will go, oh, that's a brand. Yeah, okay. What's the brand, right? But the reality is it's more personal about how you want to be positioned, not how everybody else is going to position you. That will be your brand. But how do you want to be positioned? Can that be congruent with how everybody else positions? All right, third question. How do I want to be known? This was the first question that was asked to me by one of my mentors. I study with a man named Alan Weiss, very smart guy. He asked me this question, Doug, how do you want to be known? And quite frankly, I went blank. I wasn't sure. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I know a lot of other things like, how do I help people? What do I do? But how do I want to be known going forward in my life? Now, I want to be known as a person who helps others achieve that income level that I achieve, and primarily the coaching, the consulting, and the entrepreneurial business. What I found in life is most people would be very happy on making a high multi-six-figure net income. Not a lot of people are willing to work to go beyond that, right? I mean, it's achievable. If you want to make $5 million a year, that's achievable too, but that's a lot more work for most people. So, and most people they're not committed to that. They're not going to do the work to do that. So I want to be known as that person. I also want to be known as a person who cares about the greater good of humanity, the greater good of and ethical treatment of all living creatures, and someone who does good. I want to be considered as a caring and loving father, which I consider myself to be. Now you could say, okay, that's also could be positioning, and that's true because this is some of these crossover. I want to be kind to others, but be gentle but firm when I need to be, right? Because I help people move to the next level. So, but I still want to be kind in getting them there, and I want to be a good friend to people who are my friends, right? Now, what does a good friend mean? You define that, right? That means for me, I go out of my way to do whatever I have to help them get to where they want to be. I also want to be known to be very truthful. I love living in truth. By the way, if you don't live in truth, try it. Truth is different than honesty. Honesty is subjective. I think I'm honest, but the reality is truth is when you look at it, are you really honest? Are you really truthful? Because when you live in truth and you can say what you want to say from a position of truth, not fear or whatever, then you have better conversations and better life experiences. All right, so once you know what you want to be known for, then the easier question for everybody, which is where they start, is what will help people that I'm most passionate about? So what am I going to help people with that, is going to help them get to the next level? So for me, growing revenues and making things more efficient in businesses, primarily doing 5 million to 10 million or above with 5 salespeople, that's kind of what I do, right? That's what I like to do. I'm passionate about that. And that helps other people because I can get them, huge percentage growth in what they're looking to go and do, as long as they want to be more effective and more efficient. I have skills around that, so I want to do that, and I'm passionate about that. I'm definitely passionate about helping coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs achieve that multi high 6-figure income, right? So, I'm passionate about inspiring others to move to the next level. I'm passionate about teaching others how to move from one emotional state to another. So all these things that I can help people that I'm passionate about. And then finally, the next thing is, getting really clear on bringing that down into, just a few different per category. So in other words, the last step is, okay, what will help people that I'm most passionate about? And now I'm going to drop it down in another category and say, what are the top 3 things that people are going to pay me for that I'm passionate about, right? So that tells me what I should be doing in my business. What are the 2 or 3 things I want to be known for more than anything else? Now, you don't have to limit yourself to those, but a lot of times lists tend to get really, really large. And when the list tends to get really, really large, it sometimes can get swallowed up in that process of like getting confused. So I'm going to challenge you to go through those questions yourself and then come up with, what do I want to be doing to make money at the end of it? And that'll come out of that list. That way, when you're clear about that, you'll know what to say yes to, what to say no to. I'll give you an example. I have a past client of mine that I worked with almost 13 years ago. Came back, and that past client, I'm getting the indication that they don't want to pay higher fees, not ridiculously higher fees, but they don't want to pay for the value that I can bring at this point. So it worked for me back then. It's not working for me now. That's something I say no to, even though that could be, a $10,000, $20,000 project. That's not something I'm going to take on for that because I want higher fees. It's that simple for what I'm going to do. I'm going to add and put a 1.2, $1.5 million into the business. I want to make roughly 10% of that, right? For helping them do that, because they get to keep the 1 million, 1.5 million every single year after that. I just want my first year. So it's something I can say no to. Dealing with people who are not living in truth, I can say no to that because that's all I want to live is in a truthful state. So I have to surround myself with people who are in a truthful state. And so, I love music. I would love to be around people who, are musical. However, that's not a must for me, right? So you'll know what to say no to and what to say yes. And it's as important to understand what to say no to as it is to say yes. When you say yes to everything, what you do is you liquidate down your energy, and you also liquidate down your ability to actually achieve most things. When you're very clear about who you want to be known as, known for, positioned as, what you're passionate about, what can help people and what they can pay for, and starting with what you fear the most, because those are the things that usually stop you from being clear on the other points, then you're going to clearly understand what you can say yes to, what you can say no to, where you should be putting, say, money towards prospecting and marketing and things like that, where you should not be, what technology you're supposed to use, what technology you're not supposed to use. All these questions start to fall into line once you get very clear on all these points. That's it for today. I'll see you next time on the live. If you like this, please share it with somebody else. If you believe it can help somebody, please share it with somebody else. I appreciate all your comments and I appreciate all your support. I'm going to continue to keep doing these, and I'll see you next time.